to another Doctor Assistant 1 video. If you can hear something that isn't me blubbering on, it's this fan just over there that is blowing wind, or air obviously, into my face because it's extremely warm. This is a another Doctor Who video. I'm doing the kind of reverse again to another Doctor Who video I did a while ago, which seemed to be quite successful. It was the top 5 new series monsters and that. So by reverse, I'm doing the top 5 classic series monsters, but technically they're all the classic series ones that haven't obviously been redone into the new series. So I'm excluding stuff like Ice Warriors, Sontarans, Daleks, Cybermen, Master, Slitheen, not Slitheen, the Silurians, stuff of that nature. So, and it's actually really hard to remember the names of I found it really hard to remember a lot of the names of quite a few of the other adversaries that the Doctor's versed that aren't both in the classic series and the new series and that. But yeah, but I guess the reason why obviously they've gone back and looked at some of the older ones and said, okay, we'll take these ones and put them into the new series, because they are fan favourites and people obviously do like them, and they've had good reception. So yeah, without further ado, I'm starting at 5, obviously going down to 1. Obviously a lot of these are Tom Baker related, because I'm going to be biased and say I'll be biased and kind of pick a lot from his era, because I'm a big fan of Tom Baker's era, and I think that was a big that was one of the golden ages in classic Who, as many of you know. That and Jon Pertwee's were regarded as the golden age. So in at number 5, the Wirrn from Ark in Space. They were kind of like insect kind of like creatures, like these space kind of like parasite kind of creatures, like woodlouse even, kind of like space ones that would kind of chew up all the cables in the space station in Nova Beacon, or whatever. I haven't watched the episode in ages. It's been literally ages since I've seen it, but I think that a lot of these ones are personally ones that I like, obviously, and ones that I think could be good for a sort of maybe newer prosthetics, obviously, or a slash CGI or CGI just fully or whatnot, or just it'd be good for just a story, because they haven't been in a story for a long time, or only been in a special or whatnot. So yeah, Wirrn from Ark in Space. Number 4, the Krynoids, which are from the Seeds of Doom, which is a good episode. It's a good story. Kind of anticlimactic, the ending. It's quite a long story. It's a 6-part one. But it's cool. It's an interesting take and an interesting story. The plant life on an alien planet might not actually be the kind of the meaty, the people might not be able to eat the vegetation on that planet, because the vegetation might actually eat the people on that planet. Sort of a spin on that, sort of thing. And basically, they were basically like green versions of the Krynoids from Claws of Axos, basically, and I definitely think that they would do with a new prosthetic. That would be cool. I did like the story, and I did like the premise, and I don't think they should get rid of the premise. Keep the premise, but just upgrade them and kind of make them better, and see if the new audience like them, and that, because to new audiences these are new aliens, whereas obviously if you're a classic fan, you already know that they've been in Doctor Who before, but it's kind of like a cheat, really. So yeah, in at number 3, Rutans, which most people should know. They are obviously the enemy of the Sontarans. They've only been in Horror of Fanrock, and they're kind of like green goopy blobs and whatnot. They're kind of supposed to be like a another kind of clone, or I think clone kind of faction against the Sontarans and whatnot, and they've been waging war for countless millennia, but we never seem to see any sort of, you know, battles or anything like that. And I've always wanted to see, you know, maybe, I don't know, a Rutan crash lands on Earth and somehow infiltrates, I don't know, like unit and duplicates Kate Stewart and nearly kills the Doctor or something, or you know, is about to assassinate Clara or something. I don't know. It'd be just interesting, you know, because the Rutans are kind of like shapeshifters, but I just like the premise, and I like maybe there could be like a war or a bit of a rivalry between Strax or something and this Rutan or whatnot, or maybe he's like a Rutan who's kind of like Strax in the fact that he's been banished from his platoon or whatnot. I don't know. I just really want to see them again, because we've only seen them once. A lot of these, monsters we've only seen, / adversaries we've only seen once, and I think they were good enough to bring back. That's what I'm trying to say. In at number 2, the Axons. The Axons' human form is kind of like a gold kind of person, which they did actually refer to in the season 3 finale. The Master, what is it? Refers to him, "Oh, Doctor, you used to be the, you know, the same Doctor I used to hear stories about, who could, you know, single-handedly, you know, close the Medusa Cascade and fight off Axons and whatnot." And that, because obviously the Master's in that one. Axons, Claws of Axos story. The other iteration of them in that story is they're kind of like these big blobby kind of spaghetti-like creatures, basically like exactly like the prosthetics they use for the Krynoids, but red and orange instead of like green and different mucusy kind of colours of green. So yeah, I think they would look good, both either the big blobby one and the normal human like gold kind of one. I think they'd be really cool to bring back. And obviously, number 1, if you didn't already know or guess, in at number 1, the Zygons, obviously. Technically, they have been brought back in the special, but not in an actual in-depth episode about them specifically. But unlike most people, I don't mind the fact that the Zygons kind of went toe-to-toe and kind of had to do a balancing act in the 50th with the Daleks. Everyone complains that it was absolutely terrible for the Zygon part, and that the ending for that Zygon bit was rushed and kind of a cop-out ending. But I thought it was kind of a cop-out ending, but it was as good as it could have been in a finale. I mean, the thing is, I hate the fact that there's some people out there maybe who might, you know, say it in such a negative way that I would perceive it as though they're saying, you know, "Oh, well, I could write a better 50th," you know, and it's like, Stephen Moffat, as much as most people on the internet hate him, and I do hate him for some of the crap that he's written, but, you know, you have to give him props when he does do good stuff, you know, i.e. Name of the Doctor and Day of the Doctor. You know, he had the 50th on his hands and he delivered, and, you know, so yeah, Zygons, because the prosthetics are amazing, they're just a fan favourite, you know. They've only been in Terror of the Zygons, and that is literally like a massive blockbuster horror sort of awesome story, you know, like well paced and directed. And hopefully by the time I'm doing this video, my review of that episode should be up, so if you haven't watched it already, you should watch it. Yeah, Terror of the Zygons was amazing, and the prosthetics on the 50th one was still good. You can still use that, but everyone really ranted and raved on about how cool that spaceship kind of looked in Victorian times, in medieval kind of times, in that like castle place kind of place. We only got a glimpse of it. That's why people kept ranting and raving, you know, we want a story, you know, a more in-depth look at their technology or the spaceships and stuff with new lighting and direction and kind of stuff like that. Yeah, you could make that even more atmospheric and gloomy and dark, you know, than it was in Terror of the Zygons, which would be an amazing leap forward. So yeah, this has been my top 5 classic Doctor Who villains or monsters of the classic series that haven't already been redone into the new series. Technically the Zygons have, but only into a special, not into an actual episode kind of thing. I guess you could argue, yeah, the special is, still an episode, but, an in-depth look into them. So, yeah, thanks for watching, comment, rate and subscribe.